Hello, everyone. I do apologize for not getting up to date with these videos. The midterm for this week has been a bit distracting on me mentally, and but I will do my best. I'll be 2 days behind because this was for Wednesday, and I am recording this very late on Thursday. But I believe it will be better to not overdo myself mentally with this and to just get to this video, get through this lesson, and then tomorrow, once I get through my exam, whether it's good or bad, just kind of mentally process whatever I need to process with that, and then record for today, Thursday, and then also for tomorrow. So I do apologize again for being late with that, but it happens. Uh, so we are reflecting on Mark 10, 32 to 34. So it's not a long passage, so that does make it a little bit easier for me. But this is, as you can read there, the third prediction to his death and resurrection. And this time he goes into a lot more details with it, and he will go to further example of what's going to occur. So let's get into it. So if you read with me, 32 to 34, they were on the road going up to Jerusalem, and Jesus was walking ahead of them. The disciples were astonished, but those who followed him were afraid. Taking the 12 aside again, he began to tell them the things that would happen to him. See, we are going up to Jerusalem. The Son of Man will be handed over to the chief priests and the scribes, and they will condemn him to death. Then they will hand him over to the Gentiles, and they will mock him, spit on him, flog him, and kill him, and he will rise after 3 days. Um, Also, in my version, I don't know if you guys are reading from the ESV, a different type of a CSV because this is the one I got. On the very bottom where it says flogged, it actually another word is scourge. I believe it's how you properly say that. But I have the temple here because I don't want to do any images of Christ being flogged or anything like that. So uh it's unpleasant to look at because it's so hard to view because the Passion of the Christ, I've talked about this multiple times. It's a movie I greatly enjoy because of the fact of what they do with it. Now, Mel Gibson made a few mistakes with the film, but that's just the filmmaker right there. But one of the things that still to this day blows my mind, and we actually mentioned this on Wednesday as well, is the fact that uh, the flogging scene, the scenes that led up to his crucifixion, even the crucifixion itself, is said to be not even close to what it was. Like maybe 70%. Like I think someone did that, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But like it wasn't fully close to what Christ went through, and to know what he went through is insane to even begin to think about. This was one of the images that I wanted to use. I'm assuming from like the letter and everything, this was like a criminal case or something, or I have no idea. But this was the only type of whip I could find with, and I didn't really want to, because I looked up flog, and this is all I could find, because that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a tool that they would use to flog people back in the day, but I didn't want to go too far with searching that up. just because didn't know what would occur. But this was what I found, and it's just a good reminder in so many ways that Christ's suffering, his with his with the whipping that he endured, with the clay, the glass, the bones. I mentioned that on Wednesday, and it's hard to even fathom, but you know, um, it's important to remember the events that occurred because of what happened, because of what he did for us. His death and resurrection is, you know, uh, vitally important. But if we just discount everything else that he did, we're missing the whole point. I've heard people talk about him, and they're asked the question, you know, um, like this stuff dealing with, how do you know you're a Christian, or what did Christ did for you, and people would say, oh, he died and rose again, and that's obviously the truth, but there's still so much more. He is the image of the invisible God. He showed us, he demonstrated for us how we are to live our lives. Now, obviously, we're imperfect humans, and we can't follow instructions from our parents to not touch the hot stove when we were a kid. So, who says we're going to be able to follow anything in the world today? But we can learn, we can benefit from him in so many ways. And his death and resurrection was so important, so obviously important. Excuse me. And obviously not just counting that, but we need to take that with, because he was born. He was born, and he was born in a stable. He was born in a manger, and the fact that he went from there to his family, his father took them to Egypt and was there for a while, and then they mentioned his life once more when he was a kid, and they went to Jerusalem for the temple, and then they skip until he's about 30 years old, and then he was baptized, and then his ministry begins, and he does ministry for 3 years. The healings, the teachings that he did, if we don't think about the teachings, there's so much that we are missing out on, and so many important instructions and guidance that we are missing out on. But why is it important, though, that he continues to remind them of this, of his, death and resurrection? And with that, why was it important for him to, add a little bit? Because the last time it just was kind of handed over to the scribes, priests and scribes, and then they'll be handed over to the Gentiles, and he'll die and be resurrected, or die and rise up 3 days later. But this time he goes into further details with what the impact and what the Gentiles will do, with the fact that they will mock him, spit on him, flog him, and kill him, and he will rise again, rise after 3 days. You know, why is that important? Why is it important for us? But like, why did they have to write it down for us to know it? We already know it. We're already given the ideas later on in the Gospels. So why is it important to say it then as well? I think it's important because it's a reminder to us that he reminded them 3 times. He was preparing them for it, and yet they were never willing, or they hardened of hearts, or they just didn't fully comprehend the importance of what was coming. And so, why were why were those who were following him afraid? So, uh, when we last met, it was Tuesday, with this passage. We were discussing, the kingdom of God, and the rich young ruler with the After that, it's easier for a camel to go into the eye of the needle, before a rich person goes into heaven, and that's because they have possessions that they don't want to give up. And so, why were they afraid? They were afraid because, I believe that with all these conversations, they were processing everything. They were afraid from that, and Christ was like, "You're missing the point. You're this isn't we are rich in spirit and not having to worry about that." And so, that's all I have. Mentally, I am not mentally thinking a lot on this, gonna be honest. But don't forget, Mere Christianity video will be up. Um, I'm gonna say either tomorrow or Saturday for both last week and this week, and then Genesis chapter 4 will be this Sunday. So I will see everyone later.